In this episode of Top of the Key, we talk about different injuries happening in the NBA, a couple of records being broken, and teams that need players to help shoot the ball. Looking at the Cavaliers and the Bucks. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Top of the Key, presented by TurfToeShow.com. My name is Mike Floyd, and in this show, we talk about everything NBA related, from the players, the games, the rumors, injury reports, everything I can think of NBA related. And so normally on Wednesdays, I like to focus more on those rumors and the trade deadlines and stuff like that. One of the rumors that I was looking at was this whole Cavs thing. So as of right now, the Cavs lost 3 straight. It is early in the season, like week 2. And they lost to the Brooklyn Nets, the Pelicans, and my New York Knicks. And everybody's saying, like, you know, there's some trouble in there. The Cavs team is the oldest team in the NBA right now, and they're having a hard time keeping up on defense with these kids. Teams are on average are dropping 101 points on them per 100 possessions, which is 27th worst in the league. So it's being that it's a LeBron team, everybody expects more from these guys, but once again, it is very early in the season, so it's going to be kind of hard for these guys to mesh everything together. Because once again, during the summer, they had a bunch of trades. They got Isaiah Thomas, they got Jay Crowder, they got Dwayne Wade, they got D Rose. They brought all these different pieces in. They're still trying to meld all this stuff together. Plus, the guy that they traded Kyrie for, Isaiah Thomas, is still hurt. The guy that can drop buckets, like he can average 29 points a game, he's still not there. He won't be there till January, presumably. So I think once they get him back, they'll be able to start, wrecking these teams like they normally do. I do think it's going to be a little learning curve, a little learning process, because you got a lot of guys vying for minutes right now. On average, I think they said the average player on the Cavs right now is playing like 17 minutes, which is not really heard of. And you got a lot of superstars on that team. You got Kevin Love, Korver, J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, Shumpert, who's actually been deemed to be hurt right now, I think with a calf injury. Braun, Dwayne Wade, D Rose. So you got a lot of big name guys on there, a lot of veteran guys. So it's going to take Ty Lue to actually figure out how to, meld these guys together, get those minutes going, and keep this train running. I mean, LeBron, he's playing like LeBron. He's almost getting at least a double-double every night and almost a triple-double every night. So he's playing the way he's supposed to be playing. Looking for the month of November, today's November 1st. They got a pretty decent stretch going on right now. They got to play the Pacers tonight. They play the Cavaliers, the Hawks, Bucks, Rockets, Mavericks, Knicks, Hornets, Clippers, the Pistons, Nets, Hornets, 76ers, the Heat, and the Hawks. So out of those teams, honestly, their biggest competition should possibly be the Wizards. If the Wizards actually show up and play the way they should be able to play, as fast as John Wall is, they should be able to make a lot of fast break points on the Cavs right now. If they don't fix anything that's been happening to them on defense. The Hawks, they're hit and miss. The Bucks, I mean, we've all seen what Giannis has been doing. He's been averaging 36 points a game. I mean, the guy is a beast, but he has no other shooters with him. I was going to talk about that in a couple minutes. Mavericks, I don't know what's going on with them. They're just playing bad, man. The Knicks, I expect the Knicks to win this game handily, drop 200 points on them, but I doubt it. But it is in New York, so we'll see what happens with that. Let's see, the Hornets. Looks like the Hornets have been resurrected. Kemba Walker, he's out there balling out. Right now, Kemba Walker has tied Glenn Rice for the most career 25 plus point games in the franchise history for Charlotte Hornets. So he's doing really good. Dwight Howard, I mean, he's averaging 15 rebounds a game. I think his streak stops maybe like two games ago, but he's found his place in the NBA. He's not the focus of the team because that's Kemba Walker's team. But Dwight Howard, he's going to give those guys in the paint some trouble right now. The Clippers, they lost to the Detroit Pistons on the night, but they're good. Blake Griffin is finally getting his groove going. And the Pistons, like I said, and the Nets are super fast. So what I'm saying is, if they don't fix their problems that they're having right now, they might have a long November. Now, I know everybody judges LeBron and his teams, in April or whenever they make the playoffs. That's when we start to judge them. But I would like to see LeBron fix these problems now, so later on when the spring comes, we're not talking about this and we're not discussing how they always slide like this. They always have these problems. No, like, go ahead and figure out what the problem is now. See if you need to trade somebody out there, get them off the team, and go ahead and make a plan. So when Isaiah does come on the court, you're just hitting the ground running. There's no problems. Speaking of injuries, Markelle Fultz for the Philadelphia 76ers, he's been deemed to be out indefinitely with soreness and scapular muscle imbalance in his right shoulder. I don't know if you actually watched the 76ers play. I've been watching them because I've been, I trusted the process with Joel Embiid, and I like JJ Redick. He's playing with that team now. But when Markelle was out there playing, he had this weird jump shot. It was like he would go up, he'll pause, and then he'll shoot it. It was like a weird hitch, and you could tell that the kid was in pain. Now, Fultz, being the number 1 pick in the 2017 draft, has had these problems all season and is pretty much destroyed his free throw. When Markelle Fultz was playing in college, he's one of the best shooters to come out. And so it's weird that the management of the 76ers were stating like, oh, this kid has changed his shooting mechanics. He's done this, that. I'm like, why would he change his shooting mechanics when he hit the league when he was one of the best shooters in college? That makes no sense whatsoever. Me personally, I think it's the Philadelphia 76ers medical staff. These guys are just ridiculous. To me, they destroyed Joel Embiid, made him to where he can only play like 32 games a season. These guys are just horrible. Fultz has been struggling all season. He's averaging, 6 points a game, 2.3 rebounds, and 1.8 assists in 18.9 minutes. And he's only 33% for field goals in the 4 games that he actually played. So I hope for this kid, being the number 1 pick, they could do something with that shoulder, fix it, figure out what's wrong with that stroke, get him back on the court, because the 76ers can use him. They can really use him right now. Speaking of getting somebody some help, Giannis out in Milwaukee playing with the Bucks. Yeah, he's averaging plus 30 points a game, but as we see with the Thunder game that happened last night, he needs some help out there. Like, he has no shooters. When he's sitting on the bench, the Thunder went up by like 20 points. I want to say it was in the second quarter. And it got out of hand really fast. So they need to find somebody who can actually shoot the ball besides Giannis. And you can tell he's trying to dish it out to his teammates. And you can tell when they're losing, when he turns it up a notch, because he just starts driving to the paint. I mean, nobody can stop the kid because he's so long and big. But they got to figure out something out there in Milwaukee. Jason Kidd, the head coach, they need to make some trades. I mean, there's some players available, but this is ridiculous. Like I was saying earlier, I like to talk about the injuries on Wednesdays. So the other 2 notable injuries that I've seen was Mon Shumpert, the Cavaliers reserve guard. He's been missing some games, soreness to his right knee. When they did test on it, they didn't see any structural damage, so that's a good thing. And they said he'll be out between like 5 to 7 days just to get treatment on it. He disappeared pretty much during the playoffs, during that final series with the Warriors. But he is a really good player. He's a really good role player. He's just another one of those guys that they just got to figure out how to, get him into that system. He was part of a lot of the trade talks that were happening during the summer, and nothing came through with it. So I think a lot of guys were worried, like a lot of GMs were worried about the injuries that he sustained over the years. But I think that if they can get him healthy, he can, give them some help on that defensive end. The other injury I want to talk about is the Utah Jazz forward Joe Johnson. He's out of 2 weeks with a wrist injury. The 17-year veteran, he had an MRI and found tendon instability in his right wrist. He suffered the injury during the Mavericks game. Kind of like fell on it, kind of weird. The Jazz, I mean, they're the Jazz, it's whatever. But, being a vet, I don't like seeing these guys go out. I mean, that team does have a lot of young guys on there. They're not in a rebuilding mode, but they're in that, like, we're above rebuilding, but we're not there yet. We're just like, we're going up the hill. We're like halfway up the hill. So we're getting to where we want to be. And having Joe Johnson out kind of sets them back a little bit. Now, speaking of trades, GM Ryan McDonough of the Suns, he stated that he has no timetable for Eric Bledsoe. It's pretty much their fault. They fired the coach. They sent this man home, told him, you're not on the team anymore, but we're still going to pay you. So they're paying this man just chill at the house. I think I looked at it, he was like getting paid like $82,000 just to sit at home, which is like, I would love to do that. But it's been about a week and there's been no trades. But from what I understand, they're asking too much in return for Eric Bledsoe. They even tried to sweeten the deal and say, we're throwing Tyson Chandler. But it's like, why? I mean, you just get what you can get for him. But if you're not going to play him, I mean, you're paying him for nothing. Just trade the man. Just let him out of there. So at this point in the season, these guys are starting to, show off what they could do. Giannis is gunning for that MVP spot. So I also like to talk about like the season leaders at the time of the period. So at the time of recording is, November 1st, 2017. Points per game, Giannis is top with 33.7 average. DeAndre Jordan is top of leaderboards for rebounds per game at 16.3. And of course, Russell Westbrook's at the top of the leaderboard with 11.7 assists per game. So pretty much everybody's in their spot. 3-pointers made, Steph Curry is rocking at 32. James Harden is behind him at 27, but James Harden doesn't play defense, so he's always out there just to play, shoot the ball. So last thing I want to talk about is Kyrie Irving. He went to the Celtics during the offseason, during that blockbuster trade, and he is the second player in Celtics history to record 150 points plus in his first 7 games with the franchise. So he's out there doing his thing. I mean, now that the attention is solely on him, now he has to make this team work. He's the one that wanted out. He's the one that wanted to run his own team. He has a shot to do it. He's making the best of it right now. And lastly, I like to look at the rankings. It's been 2 weeks, so they really don't mean much, but I like saying them every other Wednesday. So top 10 at the moment are Boston, Orlando, Washington, Toronto, Detroit, Milwaukee, Charlotte, Indiana, New York, and Cleveland for the Eastern Conference. Loving the fact that New York is right there in that bubble. We're at 500, so hopefully we go over 500 in the next couple days. Western Conference, no surprises. Memphis Grizzlies still on top with the LA Clippers, Houston, Golden State, Minnesota, Utah, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Portland, and New Orleans. The Lakers, they're sitting there tied with New Orleans right now at just about. They're at 400, for the games. They're 3-4, so they might be able to make some noise this season. So I'll keep track of that and see what happens with all that, how that goes. So that's gonna be it for this episode of Top of the Key. Once again, you can follow us at Turtle Show. You can hit us on the website, Facebook, Instagram, the YouTube, pretty much everything. Check us out every Thursday, the Turtle Show. That's where we cover everything football related, especially with all the trades that went down, all the injuries that's been happening, fantasy talk, pretty much anything football related we talk about. Also, we were talking about the World Series. It should be over by the time the next Turtle Show episode comes out. So we'll have our guy, Mr. Steve Harris, talk about how the World Series went down and why we should actually care about it. So until next time, guys.